All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to give us all the same thing. Couple of minutes to get set up here, get comfortable, get your cup of coffee, sit down, relax, put in your AirPods, and we're going to have our conversation. Okay. So again, my goal is to try to keep it in a reasonable amount of time. So funny as I thought about this, Chris Achille challenged me with his 25 push-ups for mental health, and I'm going to call it 25 for the cause. That, I'm going to do my 25 push-ups for the cause, and then my goal is to stay under 25 minutes. How about that? Okay, so today, we'll get started here in a minute because I want to just wait till about 7:30. I'll just it's only been about 30 seconds in, so we'll give people some time. I'll talk about the worship song at the end. I'm going to try one more time when I do my push-ups. Again, at that point, if you're good to go, you can tune out. You don't need to watch me do push-ups, but I got to do my 25 for the cause plus 5 for another person. And I'm going to play a song from Saint Israel called Lead Me, which I think is an excellent song and something that we're going to hope is going to happen today. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Today is day 14 of the 25-day mental health challenge presented to me by Chris Achille Love Peace. Today, Friday, August 28th, 2020, I'm going to talk about the relationship between mental health and anger. Okay, I had several angry teachers send me texts, send me messages. I heard from them, and they were talking about training they had to go through this week for Sarasota County called CLR training, Cultural Linguistics Responsiveness. And evidently, the SCTA received hundreds of phone calls about complaints for this. I received several texts about this, and this is what's great about this whole Get Real. Guarantee every teacher respect, education, accountability, and leadership is that I had some teachers reach out, show courage, use their voice, and say, Mr. Russo, hey, how about talking about this? So outstanding. There were 2 videos that Sarasota County teachers were asked to watch, and staff, teachers and staff were asked to watch, and I watched those last night, and it was called Culture Light, in Culture Light Part 1, and it was interesting to say the least. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, and I understand in talking about that, there's going to be people who get angry about what's being talked about in the topic of discussion, and even the gentleman who presented Culture Light understood that anger is part of this. So knowing that, I wanted to start my verse of the day from James 1, verses 19-20. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. And that's so true, because we know this: when we get angry, we act out of character. But anger is a human emotion. The teachers who contacted me, they were angry. They were angry about what they were hearing and angry about what they were seeing. So that's my goal then, to give them a voice and talk about this. Okay, so this CLR, Cultural Linguistics Responsiveness. Okay, so here's what I've heard from people who contacted me, and after watching the videos myself. It seems these new CLR standards seem to have lowered the bar for everyone. It's time to get real about the lower standards of behavior that the Sarasota County School Board wants certain Sarasota County students to follow, and the specific types of behaviors that the Sarasota County School Board wants Sarasota County's teachers and staffs to ignore. Okay, so part of this CLR, from talking to teachers and watching this myself, is we're setting a lower set of standards for certain students, and then teachers are told to ignore certain types of behavior from certain students. Okay? Martin Luther King Jr. asked to have his children and grandchildren be judged on the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. If the type of character Sarasota County School Board is pushing forth is defiance, disrespect, disobedience, and blaming others for your own actions and choices, then you really missed Martin Luther King Jr.'s point. when he was speaking of content of character. That's not what he was talking about. And I think we're getting things a little backwards here in Sarasota County, and I feel that this is why I was here, to be this voice for teachers. Okay, I'm wearing my whistle today because I'm going to bring that whistle with me to the school board meeting, but I want to just blow the whistle and call a foul on what I'm seeing here, because this is crazy. Okay, the set of standards that we're looking at, that we want these kids to follow, is demeaning. It's lowering. I don't see the plus in it. And so this is why we have to have discussions. We have to be open and we have to be honest, because the gentleman who presented this was an awesome individual, kind, forthright, honest. I loved him. I just didn't agree with a lot of stuff that he was saying. And that's okay, because he wants honesty. And I honestly don't agree with him. And so did a lot of other teachers did not agree with him. And that's why I'm talking about it. So let's just do a couple of hot points from his discussion, and we'll see what this says. Cultural responsiveness is for all students, but some students may need it more. Okay, that's just about anything. Some students, math is for all students, but some students may need more math than others. So I understand that cultural responsiveness is for everybody, but it definitely targets a smaller group. Okay, he used an acronym. I love acronyms. Get real, guarantee every teacher, respect, education, accountability, and leadership. His acronym was RACE. Reflect, acknowledge, call to action, and educate. Now, I love that. I think that's fantastic. We all need to reflect about what's going on. We all need to acknowledge that something's wrong. I've been making this call to action. We need to show up at the school board meeting at 6 p.m., September 1st. It's an open meeting at 6:30. You can go in and speak. You can be heard. That's the call to action. And in this call to action, we can educate the Sarasota County School Board about what they're doing wrong, about the flaws in this CLR curriculum that they're pushing on the staff. And it's time for the staff to speak up about it. Now, one of the things that this RACE acronym talked about is holding people accountable. That's what I've been saying for the last week since I started this. We need to hold people accountable. So I'm all for this. I think this RACE acronym is excellent. We need to reflect. We need to acknowledge. We need a call to action. We need to educate. And we need to hold people accountable. But it has to work from both sides. It just can't be the white people who always have to reflect, acknowledge, call to action, educate, hold ourselves. It goes both ways. Every race has people in it who need to do this. Every race, not just the white race. Okay, so here's a great example that this man used in a CLR video. George Floyd is a good example of obvious. I couldn't agree more. George Floyd was murdered by that police officer. That's hard to watch. That police officer had no regard for George Floyd's life. He put his knee on his neck and he murdered him. That's what he did. That is obvious. I agree 100%. Okay, so who is most likely to have that type of death? Well, he said the probability was a black man. Okay, so that's what he's saying, that George Floyd's example of obvious, if a person in society is going to be obviously murdered like this by a police officer, he says the probability is it's going to be a black man. Okay, I don't have the statistical answers to that, so I can't say yes or no to that, but I can say this. Let's ask why. Why? Why is the statistical probability that this is going to happen to a black man? Okay? That's what I want to know as a teacher. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why? Okay, well, Jacob Blake is in the news today, and he's being held up as an example. But one of the things we have to look at is, did Jacob Blake have any accountability in what led to his shooting that day? Does anybody deserve to be shot 7 times in the back? I don't think so. But there were things that could have been done way before that ever occurred, before that action took place. So we're judging the action, but we're refusing to look at all the actions before that that led to that action. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And we need to start asking why this is happening, because we're not holding people accountable for the small mistakes they're making, and then it turns into a big one. How did A go to Z like that and that Jacob Blake shooting? because Jacob Blake didn't listen to B through Y. He just did what he wanted to do, and that police officer responded the way he responded. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying this is what he did. But there were plenty of things Jacob Blake could have done. So that's not an obvious case, and I don't like when that's held up as an obvious case. Okay, so we talk about this as probability of happening to a black man. Well, I have a question. As a teacher, who is more likely to be accused of racism? Probability? White teacher, white male teacher. We know why. We don't have to ask why. It's because of this current cultural movement that is painting white men as the villain. And this is what has happened to me, is I'm caught in this cultural movement. So, once again, human anger does not produce righteousness. It doesn't. It doesn't work. This is what we're trying to say. This is what God was trying to tell us. That once you get angry, righteousness usually goes out the window. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to some specific people. Trevor Harvey, president of the Sarasota NAACP and the Sarasota County School Board. These messages are going to be directly to you because I did watch these Culture Light videos and I do have some things I'd like to share with you. Number one, Trevor Harvey and the Sarasota County School Board are leveraging the anger and fear of the African American community into coming after me. Trevor Harvey and the Sarasota County School Board are leveraging the anger and fear of the African American community into coming after me. It's Trevor Harvey and the Sarasota County School Board that need to pay attention to the obvious, because this is pretty obvious to me. It's obvious to me that Trevor Harvey singled me out simply because of the color of my skin. He came after me because I was a white man who put his hands on a black student. And that's all he saw. He saw nothing else. Okay, so to show you that I did watch this video yesterday, I am going to take the advice of the gentleman who orchestrated that video. And here's what I'm going to say. Trevor Harvey, I am calling you out as an Amy Cooper. Trevor Harvey, you are an Amy Cooper. The Sarasota County School Board, I am calling you out as an Amy Cooper. Just like George Floyd was an obvious example for you, Trevor Harvey and Sarasota County School Board, you're the good example of obvious for me. You have a video where the teacher did everything right, the student did everything wrong, but I'm being targeted because I'm white and he's black. Amy Cooper lives in Sarasota. Amy Cooper serves on the Sarasota County School Board. Amy Cooper is the president of the Sarasota NAACP. Because let me throw this thought at you to blow your mind away, Trevor Harvey and Sarasota County School Board. What if the first video clip that ever came out about my involvement with the student in question that day first showed the student punching Principal Matthew Gruel twice in the head, attempting to attack me, and then stomping on the principal's feet? Then, second, I showed you the 12-second clip of me properly restraining a violent student with a CPI-approved hold. Do you think that restraint would look reasonable now? Do you see how Trevor Harvey and the Sarasota County School Board changed the entire narrative of that day simply by labeling me a racist? All you saw was a white teacher and a black student. You are Amy Cooper, Trevor Harvey. You are Amy Cooper, Sarasota County School Board. That's the obvious. That is the obvious. So, once again, Culture Light talks about a radical change. I love it. Trevor Harvey and the Sarasota County School Board, are you ready for a radical change? Let's have a community discussion at the September 1st school board meeting at 6:30 p.m. This school board meeting is open to the public. It is open to the public at 6:30 p.m. Everyone is allowed to speak for 3 minutes if you fill out a card when you get inside. Let's use our 3 minutes to tell them what we really and honestly think of CLR. This is what they are asking for teachers and staff in this county. Your honest opinion. So I'm going to stop there. Let me finish it. Teachers and staff, you must show up at 6 p.m. Tuesday night, September 1st at the landings. Step out of your comfort zone. Excuse me. They want your honest opinion. You need to give it. This is it. Here it is right here. This is the focal point, September 1st. Teachers and staff, you are either going to show up and speak up and start getting the respect you deserve, or this is going to continue to happen if no one shows up. You fill that parking lot up with cars, peeping horns. You get people out there with signs for Get Real and follow the truth, because we need to follow the truth. And you get people in there talking at the Sarasota County School Board meeting, change will occur. But if you sit at home and you say it's someone else's problem, this will continue. I will be there. I will be there to use my 3 minutes, not to talk about me, but to talk about teachers and what we're going to do to help them. So I'm going to finish today. I'm going to make another 20 minutes. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. It is now or never, teachers and staff at Sarasota County School Board, teachers and staff at the Sarasota County School Board. They're asking for a radical change. Let's give them one. Let's give them a radical change. Let's bring common sense back into the schools. And we, as the teachers and staff, I keep saying we, I apologize, you, as the teachers and staff of Sarasota County Public Schools, have the power to do this. It just takes courage. Showing up at 6:30 p.m. on September 1st, beeping your horn, carrying a sign, speaking your honest opinion to the school board. How could change ever occur if we don't speak up? So this has been very passionate to me. I hope that there was not human anger coming through. I do get angry about the situations, but my goal is, again, to stay righteous on this. All right, so listen, I want to finish up with my 25 for the cause and 5 for a special person. My special person today is Phil Puzanchera, who is a social studies teacher at Brookside Middle School. And Phil is also the reigning, I believe, Sarasota County Teacher of the Year for Brookside Middle School. The reason I'm holding Phil up for my extra 5 today is Phil is someone I know who got out of his comfort zone and he found his voice. Phil is a doer, okay? Phil was one of those who sat back and listened, didn't say too much, not the case anymore. Phil found his voice. Phil got out of his comfort zone. And we're asking other people to do that. We're asking you to show up. This is big. September 1st, you need to show up. We're getting in touch with Andrew Pollock. It's getting closer and closer. I was able to contact Lori Alduhoff, a friend of his. Andrew Pollock responded, said he's seeing what's going on, but he's in Oregon. I would love nothing more than for Andrew Pollock to show up at the school board meeting on September 1st and give his 2 cents on what's happening here, because things need to change. We can't continue down this path. This is a path that leads to lower standards. This is something we never want in Sarasota County Public Schools. We want to set the bar high. We can understand other people's cultures, and we can respect other people's cultures without allowing the negative aspects of that culture to determine how we treat them. That to me that's not right. Okay, every culture has negative aspects to it. That's part of a culture. Okay, we can learn about them, but to say we have to accept them and we have to allow that person to continue, no, we don't. We need to hold them accountable so they get rid of that negative behavior. All right, so I'm up to my 20 minutes. I'm good. Please continue to call into the school board, show up, email, let them know your thoughts on CLR. Teachers, staff, let me know your thoughts. What are some other things we can talk about? I'm going to watch the other part of this video and see what else. So I'll come back tomorrow. We'll be talking about Get Real. Tomorrow is Saturday. So I'll probably do a 10 o'clock start tomorrow. We'll give everybody time to relax and sleep in. But thank you very much again for spending this time with me. 25 for the cause. This is great. I love it. I found what I love to do, and I hope I get to continue to do this. Okay, so even though this music might not work, I'm just going to put a little song on in the background while I pump out my 25 from Sanctus Real called Lead Me. So everybody have a great Friday. Stay safe, and you are blessed. All right, love you all. All right. Around and see my wonderful life, almost perfect from the outside. And picture frames, I see my beautiful wife, always smiling, but on the inside, oh, I can hear her say, leave me. All right, 25 for mental health, 5 for Philly P. When I can't, don't leave me. Hey. All right. Enjoy. Have a great day.